Good morning. Welcome to FYI. For your information, it is the 26th day of July already. Mountain is staring us flush straight in the eye, and we're happy that you guys are here with us, whether you're joining us from the diaspora or you're joining us from our base camp, the national capital city of Georgetown in Guyana. We hope that you are fine this morning. We hope that you've hit the ground running. We're in the diaspora this morning, like some of you who are joining us internationally. We're in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the folks here have been kind and they've been generous to us. We cannot report otherwise. It's been a wonderful opportunity to network, folks, and to meet with a wide array of politicians and parliamentarians across the Commonwealth. And we're so happy to have been invited to be here. Good to have you guys on virtually at your end. We trust that you all are good. How is the night before you? You know, the good book says the night is far spent. We got to get on with it, guys. We have to get on with it. And we're just happy that you folks are here with us. Evelina Whitaker, we trust that you're good. The technicians who are on duty, the technicians who signed up, we trust that you guys are hearing us loud and clear. Bella Mona is here. I see Stephanie Pearson. We had some challenges last night with the clarity of our broadcast, and we apologize. But I want to say thanks to Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford for joining us, and we had also the indomitable, the one and only Rickford Burke joined us, and we invited you guys into some of what we had discussed with Member of Parliament Amanzo Walton this year. Earlier that day, we invited you back to some of that information as well. And you guys are the most important part of our program. Every day, you guys show up, and we're so happy for that, folks. We are humbled by that, and we want to say thanks to you guys for your love, thanks for your support, and thanks for your generosity. It helps us to be in areas like we are now, folks. And we really want to get more into the diaspora and cover some of the voices there who have an interest in what we're doing at our end back home in Guyana. We're so privileged again to be here, and we trust that you guys are well. Sharon Mercurius, good to have you there, Sharon. Sharon and Edward Brooms is here too. Nero and Sasha Trim. I see Bernie Miller is here as well, and Anaya Kingston. We're happy that you're here with us too. And we got Sasha Trim, Yolanda Thomas. Yolanda, good to have you here as well. Osmond Hutch, Cecile Lockhart, all beautiful folks. Guys, the month is running. We're almost halfway through summer, going through getting into August. A lot of birthdays coming up in August. A lot still to be had in July. It's the 26th day at our end, at least, unless you're somewhere that's far ahead of us. 26th day, it's just after 8 where we are. Folks, it's a beautiful Saturday, a beautiful morning here. And you know, it's a lovely pool outside, and you know, I ain't got a home. Not my house. No pool outside yet. And so every chance we get, we got to take a dip. Folks, it's wonderful here. It's wonderful. It's still a hectic schedule because we still have to balance our programs and attend a conference almost on an 8-hour basis. But the folks have been kind to us, and we can't fault them for anything in that regard. The food, folks, the food is lovely. The food is lovely. The food is fantastic. And we trust that wherever you're joining us from this morning, guys, you are great. Wherever you're joining us from, we trust that you are well. It's good to be here with good folks. And that's all you need, you know. Good conversation, good food, good folks. And for all I know of life, that's what life is. For all I know of life, good folks, that is what life is. Wherever you're joining us, whatever page you're joining us from, whichever platform, follow us at that end. You know, some folks are coming in from LinkedIn. We are happy and privileged for that. You know, some folks are joining us via the Tube. Oh, that's one of our favorite places, if not the favorite place. And folks are joining us via the Tube, and we are humbled by that. Joining us via the Tube, folks. So welcome on that front. Some folks are joining us via Twitter. Well, it's X now. It's X. It's not Twitter any longer. It's X. Some folks are joining us via that front. But whichever page, whichever profile you are joining us from this morning, welcome to our broadcast. We got a couple of things we want to share with you guys, and then we're going to be out of here so that you can go ahead and have a great and have a fantastic day. But do let us know how things are where you are Donald Joseph. Donald, thanks for sharing our broadcast this morning. And Nigel Hector. I see Stephanie Pearson also shared our broadcast. Thank you so much, guys, for doing that. You know, as we come on, we always say you got to share the live, smash that emoji button for us, and partner with us as well, folks. That encourages us. I'll make sure my subject and my verbs are in agreement, are in coherence, and they are coherent, folks. That enables us to keep bringing you these broadcasts. And we have such a passion, and we know how much you love the information. You love the antics. You love the electionists too. We're privileged to be here with you. Dan Mitchell is here. Claire is here with us too. Claire Capel, and we got Vesta, Hardy Rajkumar. We see Verna is here. Verna Alexander. Verna, how are you doing? Good to have you, Verna. Sheila Boydchild, staple around these parts. Sheila Boydchild, good to have you here. And we're all fun parts there. Good to have you, Tessa. Isaacs, Graves Andy's here too. Mia Miller. Mia, how things at your end? How things at your end, Mia? Good to have you here, Mia. Right? Mia says, I'm taking you all to gym. All right? Am I reading that right? Terrence Lewis. Mia, good to have you there. Yvette Juna, good to have you, Yvette, and Elizabeth Howard. I see Chanel Smith Daniels is here with us as well. Right? Chanel Smith Daniels is here with us as well. Pinky Kirk. Pinky is here too. Pinky, good running into you the last time. Was it Coffee Square we met on? Good to run into you the last time there. Folks, we got wonderful folks. You know, wonderful folks all across the world. You know, Guyanese live in every crack and crevice you got on the globe. I met a family here recently. They've lived here for 19 years and they're about to head back home. You know, I think they're leaving this very week. Beautiful family. Beautiful family. You know, the husband is retired and they say the currency here is US, even though the main currency is US dollars, even though it is a British territory. And they say, while it's good to live and work here, you know, to retire and live here is something else. To retire and live here is something else. It was good having dinner with them quite recently. And beautiful family. Lived and worked hard here in the Turks and Caicos Islands for 19 years. And you know what is of interest? The husband was telling me that when he initially came here, he came for 6 months. 6 months on a work assignment. 6 months on a work assignment, Yolanda. You know, 6 months, and 19 years later, he's now heading back home. You know, such for some of us, I'm sure it's the same for some of you. You know, it's, I can take a 1 year here, you know, make a little bread, and then beat out. 20 years later, 25, 30 years later, my grandfather, Mr. Henry, John Henry, lived and worked in the UK for over 30 years. Lived, worked, and died in the UK. Over 30 years. You know, got a lot of family, relatives in the diaspora as well, some of which we're hooking up with in a couple of weeks' time, you know, as we get some rest and recuperation at this end too. But good to have you folks. Some of you are like that. You went for 2 months or 3 months, 10 years later, you're still working for the man. You're still working for the man, right? I see a Kwesi Baker says, my husband is there 17 years. Wow. 17 years. Lots of us are like that. Lots of us are like that. We left for betterment. Left for betterment, and then 17 years later, we're still out here. 19 years later. You know, God bless y'all. God bless y'all. You got to do what you got to do for your family. I ain't gonna knock nobody for that. You got to do what you got to do for you and the family. That's important. And lots of folks left for make it better for the family, relatives, and so on. You know, probably even brought up some relatives with you, you know, to make it better. 25, 30 years later, still working in the diaspora, right? We love you guys. We love you guys. We got a couple of things we want to share with you folks, and then we out of your ears. We got a couple of things. Good to have all of you on the broadcast, though. I see Brina is here, Brina Dowden. Good to have you. Sion Rodney is here too. Selena Rodriguez Satar is here as well. Good to have you with us this morning. Sion and Selena, Marcia Agard, good to have you as well. Marcia, I see Simone Greaves is here too. Guys, we're happy that you all are with us, joining us from wherever. And I'm so grateful for the technology. You know, we're not anchored down in a studio, depending on some antenna to bring us to where you are, that we could come in the diaspora for ourselves, see how you guys are doing, and still be on air like this. And we had some challenges with the bandwidth last night. That is some of the setbacks and some of the shortcomings of doing it this way. But we hope that it's much better this morning. Gloria Chester is here with us. Gloria Chester is here with us. Gloria says, Sharon, you're coming back. We don't care who stay. That's right, Gloria. Gloria's instructing me there, you know. Gloria said, you're coming back. She's not asking me, you won't come back. You're coming back. We care who else stay. All right, Gloria. All right. All right. As instructed. As instructed. I see Ingrid Pilgrim is here with us. Debbie Collins is here with us as well. And a lot of other folks are joining us. Good to have all of you guys, wherever you all are joining us from. Let's get into some of what we're covering, folks. Let's get into some of what we are covering in the morning papers. A lot happening at our end, and we know there's a lot happening at your end as well. And of course, we're so happy to have all of you guys here with us this morning on FYI. For your information, the weather is lovely. The day is off to a great start. We got some mint tea. You know, when you're in this hotel environment in the diaspora, there's a lot of mint, I find. I find there's a lot of mint. But we can take it how we get it. I had a mojito the other evening, folks. A mojito. If you see mint, it was like mint giving away. Half the glass of mojito is mint. You see? Keep me smelling fresh inside and out. Half of the glass of the mojito was mint. Fresh inside and out, folks. I was grateful and thankful for that. Good to have Roxanne Aaron here and Mark Allman. Good to have Brenda Bailey, of course. Sheila Boychella was there. Kyle Bino is here as well. Yvette Juna. Margaret Nelson is here. Right? I see Margaret says mint for so. That's the truth. Mint is a very expensive commodity, you know, especially in the tourism hotel industry. Very expensive commodity. You into mint production, mint farming, harvesting, you're good to go. Half this glass was mint. I didn't mind fresh inside, fresh outside, like a breeze in a bottle. Or just like, God, it's mint. Folks, a couple of things happening in the morning papers. We want to share with you folks a couple of things happening in the morning papers. Good to have you here, each and every one of you. Wherever you're joining us from, Karen McPherson is here. Speechless Miss Todd is here as well. We got Karen and we got Roxanne. We got Tracy Clark is here too. Thanks, Tracy. Tracy says, good morning, Sherrod and the FYI family. Donna Brown is here too. Good to have you, Donna. Good to have you, Vanessa De Silva. Vanessa said, fresh all over. Same thing. Both all too. Fresh all over. Marcy Agard is here. Claire, Alexis Charmley Richmond is here as well. And we're just privileged to have folks like Claire and Tessa Waterman. Good to have you, Beatrice Selby. Beatrice, good to have you, Beatrice. And of course, all the other folks joining us. So what we're following this morning, folks? Demerara Harbor Bridge closed since Monday for 3 days of repairs. Folks, these repairs get a little expensive though. The bridge is still trying to recover after that last crash accident. Brace it over, that last accident there. Still trying to recover, and millions and billions of dollars in repairs. You'll find out we come away from millions. It used to be millions of dollars. Now everything got a B in it. You see the oil out there? You see the oil out there? Billions and billions and billions of dollars. You know? Billions. I think they're trying to justify the new one in a little subtlish way. But they're saying the water taxis are moving very freely. You know, no trouble there. Right? And we saw some photographs that suggest that the folks who are investigating were supervising some of that yesterday. We saw Robeson out there. Robeson was out there. Your boy Robeson, Ben. But he's good for something, apparently. He's good for something. We know it's not a crime fight. He's good for something. So we're following what's happening there, and the guys are telling us that things are moving smoothish on that front. We're watching and we're monitoring, right? What's going on there. Folks, fire, they're telling us, right? I'm certain for you, there are no surprises here. I am certain for you, there are no surprises here. There's a fire at Covent Garden yesterday. 30 persons affected after 2 buildings were completely destroyed, completely gutted by fire. They said another was partially damaged. 30 persons affected by this fire. And they said that GPL, hold on for this one, GPL was recently called in to look at an electrical issue. Right? On electrical, for an electrical issue. Good. So we want to watch that. We want to watch that. We got to watch that. GPL. GPL. We got to watch that. They said they were called in. But what do they do? You know, I saw a meme or a mime, depends on which school you went to with pronunciation. Right? They said on the 7th day, while God was resting, the devil created courts, GPL, and Redderman. On the 7th day, while God was resting, the devil created GPL courts and Redderman. I tell you, I saw that as a meme. I saw that. I ain't see it. So don't come for me. Don't come for me. Stacey Stoll. Stacey, how you doing? Good to have you. Port Kaituma, you are, Stacey. Where are you joining us from? I know it's one of those beautiful places. Yep. On the 7th day, 30 displaced by that fire. Every day. You know, folks who live in the diaspora probably amazed by that every day in such a relatively small country. You know, folks who are from small islands like the beautiful Turks and Caicos. Their mantra, I don't know if it's the motto, beautiful by nature. Right? Beautiful by nature. There's so many puns there. Right? They're amazed that Georgetown is so big. The population here is 30,000. I want to live here. I think I can retire a place like this. They get too much people. Very quiet, but spick and span, beautiful, well thought out. 30,000. They're surprised that Georgetown has, you know, over 200 plus. Region 4 got 200 plus thousand people living there, right? From such a small island. Montserrat got about 4,000, 5,000 persons, right? But in the larger scope of things, Ghana is a small population, just under 500,000. Right? Since I'm born, it's 750,000. That's what they tell us. 500,000 persons, at least. You got cities in this world, got 25 million people. Mexico City. You know, so we're a speck too. We're a speck too, and people must be amazed that the proliferation of fires, the consistency of fires, right, almost on a daily basis. That must be a marvel to some folks, you know. And so our thoughts and our prayers are with these persons who've been displaced. Thankfully, in this instance, you got no loss of lives. None that were reported. No loss of lives here. So we're watching that, folks. And again, our thoughts and prayers go to those folks. When they gonna finish this work by conversation tree? When they gonna finish this work by conversation tree? And this is a narrative we see of recent, that the Minister of Infrastructure, Minister of Works, Bishop Juan Ejil, he always gotta be reprimanding contractors, slothful work, poor work. It says to me that the choice of hiring them was a poor one, was bad judgment. And this work here by conversation tree is going on and on and on and on. We got to come to a conclusion. Part of the problem is that these contractors who don't have the capacity getting 4 and 5 contracts. I see Kyle is saying that he went to my alma mater, Kyle Bino. He said, I went to Ishmael like you. Yep. Best school in the world. Best school in the world. Is that come out from, is that produced me? Richard Ishmael Secondary in Wolford Avenue. Was privileged to go on to university after that. Reach for undergraduate diploma in communications and did my bachelor's degree in law. Was so privileged. Thanks, Ishmael. But when we finish in this walk here by conversation tree, like we got to put some Ishmael people on this walk here. Like we got to put some Ishmael people on this walk. And those of us who live up on the East Coast know how challenging that is. Some mornings you're trying to get down on the railway line, there's something happening here. Right? So we got to push. But this is what happens when you bring in friends, you bring in family, and you bring in favorites. So we're watching that, folks. We're watching that. We're watching that. Right? Maybe it's a poor decision in hiring. There are so many boxes to tick. So many boxes to tick in this process. Contractors got to show a lot of things. Contractors got to show a number of things. And for the number of times that the bishop, one Edgel, got to come out and reprimand contractors, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Just maybe, folks, just maybe, I don't know, just maybe it's the spirits, the supernatural forces contributing to the snags in these projects, like the one there in St. Road, Cemetery Road. Maybe it's the spirits, y'all remember that? Mark Doris, O'Neill Vanessa, Yarnett, Pinky Kerr, Tessa Griffith. Maybe it's the spirits. So we're following, good folks, we're following in this stead. And yesterday, folks, yesterday was another good day for Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford. 2 more wins. One day, you know, hey, I don't know. I want to hazard. I can say something controversial now. Back up yourself. I'm taking a sip of the mint tea while the graphic is up. So y'all don't see how awkward I drink my tea. I know some of y'all judgmental like that, you know. Judgmental. So 2 more wins for the Senior Council. Now, here's the controversial idea that I have. Controversial. I want to hazard, right? That a man like Nandalal went through UG, I think he did his LLB there like me, went on to UE and did his legal education certificate. And that allows you to practice in, I think, any Commonwealth jurisdiction. At least to practice in Guyana. We are certain of that. And, you know, has had a pretty successful career, right? I won't take anything away from him for the sake of politics because we're on a different side of the political aisle. So I wanna proffer, you know, that he's a reasonable lawyer, right? At the low end, some people put him right up there with the likes of Nigel Hughes and so on, right up there, right? With the likes of Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford. Some people put him right up there, right? But if I can't say that, if I can't bring myself to say that, at least I can say he's a decent lawyer, right? He's been a pretty successful lawyer. So what do you ascribe to the fact that he's been on this consistent losing streak? You know, Basil was on the same losing streak too as AG. And it was, I think, was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of that, the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. The fellow says, when you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. St. Basil, fairly bright, and lost a lot of cases. Anil, fairly bright, and lost a lot of cases as Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs. Then you got to start looking at the seat now. Right? Maybe something in the AG seat like somebody went Guadeloupe and put on something there. Because this kind of loose streak that Nandalal is on. 2 cases just yesterday. We want to say congratulations. The City Council 4, wins after wins after wins. And folks, take nothing away from him. You see, the arguments before the High Court, the arguments before the Court of Appeal, they have been so ferocious, so prolific, of such substance that Senior Counsel Ford has consistently over the last 3 years come out ahead of the pack. Ahead of the pack, himself and team, because I know he's had a good team with international lawyers like Selwyn Peters, who's brought to bear his own prowess, his own scholarship to some of these matters here. So I want to thank Senior Counsel Ford and the entire team. The 2 important cases that were won yesterday was that one with the Ghana Cooperative Public Union, the Ghana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union, the Ghana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union. That was one that needed to be won. Just to say to the PPP, nah, 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 nah. They went in there and installed their own people. And I'm so surprised at Karen. I'm so taken aback by Miss Van Slytman. Taken aback and put it back by what they went in there and tried to do to our brother, Carl, right? Mr. Ben, not Carl. What he went in there and tried to do to Mr. Ben. Unfathomable. The man won, democratically elected. And not only was he democratically elected and won, he did a couple good things as well. He did a couple good things as well. For the short time he was there, before they attempted this coup, before they attempted to unseat him. Kyle, that's what they did. It was a coup, a corporate coup in Great Austin and Marie Selby. And so Mr. Ford won that case yesterday. Oh, the judge was livid. The judge was livid. It's only left for he go himself and throw them out. He said immediately, Karen and the other Jacobats must go. Immediately. And he put in Mr. Ben and his team. Put in Mr. Ben and Rachdai, Jaggernaut, and the other folks there. Proper team. Proper team. Ford also won yesterday in the court. At the Court of Appeal, the parliamentary secretary's case. Oh, and it was livid on this one. When Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire handed down that judgment initially from the High Court. Right? He went to the point by saying that they have to occupy a seat, even if he gotta go and take 2 chairs and pull and put for them. And do you know, up to now, even though the High Court handed down that decision, and there was no stay, as far as I know, on that judgment, Sarah Brown, Vikash Ramkissoon, the 2 parliamentary secretaries in question, still are and were earning salaries, remuneration, benefits, even though the High Court said they had no authority, no legal right, and they're usurping those seats in the National Assembly was unconstitutional. The PP still got them earning money. Yep. But the Court of Appeal didn't play with them yesterday. The Court of Appeal didn't play with them. It's only left for to go and heist them out themselves and dash them out. The Court of Appeal upheld what the High Court, what Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire decided in that matter. And so one day, folks, 2 wins for Rosedale Ford. I wish bright, smart, people-centered folks like Senior Counsel Ford would have an opportunity, a greater opportunity in this country. He is one of those persons who has been working so hard for this coalition, so hard. And I say it often, you don't always see him in front of the camera, right? But helping so many people who are hurting, who are suffering in this country, helping on the legal front in matters like these, and doing a lot behind the scene. And I wish folks like Senior Counsel Ford were given a greater opportunity to lead. I know he would do well. This is not fluke wins, you know. These are wins because he knows and he understands what he's doing. And I had the privilege of talking to him last night on our program, and I want to share a couple of minutes of that discussion with you. It was a lengthy discussion. We spoke for close to half hour. We won't do all of that this morning because I want to turn our attention to some other things as soon as possible. But Senior Counsel Ford did the work with his team, Selwyn Peters and the other attorneys on the team, international lawyer out of Canada, Selwyn Peters, Guyanese to the bone, lives and works in Canada, international lawyer. He himself is a case study with the wins he's racking up in Canada and elsewhere. But from some of our discussion last evening, Senior Counsel Rosedale Ford. Today was some big wins in the courts. So congratulations. 2 cases, 2 wins. This is now about 60 to 10. 60 Rosedale Ford, and it'll got about 10. This case involving the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union. Give us a little background because we've come away a little bit from it. It faded from the public view, but it's been winding its way through the court system, and a decision was handed down today in the favor of former chairman, now back as chairman, Trevor Ben and his associates. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Trevor Ben today, along with Mr. Patrick Mentor and Rajday Jaggernaut, were appointed by the court by virtue of a court order to assume the functions of chairman, secretary, and treasurer of the Cooperative Credit Union. This is a matter that would have engaged the public attention some time ago, as you pointed out. To give you a little background and a little reminder, a number of members of the Cooperative Credit Union had filed a petition with the credit union itself seeking to have the annual general meeting held pursuant to a petition, which is a specific provision provided in the Co-op Societies Act. We had to go to court because the existing committee basically decided that they were not going to give effect to that petition. So last October, Justice Navindra Singh ruled that the petition was valid and had to be given effect to. The judge, particularly in his decision, outlined how this annual general meeting is to be held, how the objects and the purpose of the petition is to be given effect to. Particularly, one of the important areas that the judge highlighted, and that formed an important part of the petition, was the fact that it had to be streamed virtually with the capacity to allow the members of the Co-op Society throughout the country in all 10 administrative regions to participate virtually. The petition recorded that the previous annual general meeting, which was in fact the annual general meeting that led to the appointment and election of the current committee of management, that it was done specifically by a Trinidadian IT firm. So the judge particularly wanted that same rollout or model to be done in relation to this intended annual general meeting. The judge ordered that it be done, but the certain members of the Co-op Society, let me put it that way, the Committee of Management, purported to act as if they were complying with the order, but in fact had not complied with the order. So much that 2 days before the hearing or the date when the matter was supposed to come up in court, because they subsequently filed an application asking the court to grant a variation of the order that was originally made. They then withdrew that application for variation the day before the hearing of the application and proceeded to act in a manner contrary to the order. So they were at one time asking to have it varied to be done in a particular way. They withdrew the application for variation and simply proceeded to do it in the manner in which they wanted to do it. The fact that it was done in that manner, and also coupled with the fact that they recognized that they needed to have a variation done, um, constituted the basis of a current application, which is before Justice Navindra Singh, which we have now going to court to point out that this is an issue where not only was the order not complied with, it was deliberately frustrated, resulting in the failure to give effect to the petition of the members to have an annual general meeting in a particular format. Justice Singh today, after arguments by myself and counsel for the other side, ruled that he will remove um, three persons, Karen Van
Mhm.
Slytman, Ruth Howard, and Leslie Noble, from performing any functions on behalf of the Cooperative Credit Union. And he appointed in place the three earlier persons that I pointed out, Patrick Mentor, Trevor Ben, and Rajdai Jaggernaut, to assume their functions. The matter is also fixed for the 13th of September, 10 o'clock, at which date we expect the continuation of this matter and the possible completion of it. The court on the last occasion had also awarded costs in the sum of $1 million against the respondents, and they have since failed to pay that cost. The judge basically instructed and directed that it must be paid by the 13th of September. So those were the developments in relation to that very important matter.
Yeah, but and Royce, a particular aspect of this case is the political aspect, because this was, for all intents and purposes, an effort by this installed regime to remove a duly elected body.
Um, yes, Sherrod, but there's another dimension to it.
Go right ahead, tell us.
The Co-op Credit Union, this particular Co-op Credit Union, um, is extremely endowed with resources. I believe the last time I looked at the documents in the course of preparing, it is a multi-billion-dollar financial institution. It is an institution that caters for public servants and ordinary members of the society. It enables them to access loans at low interest rates. This is how many of our supporters are able to have a home, be able to start a small business, even send their children to school, to buy uniform, buy textbooks. So it forms an important financial institution in the lives predominantly of the APNU AFC supporters. So the government recognized that, Cheryl. And I believe it was a deliberate ploy on their part, not simply to take control of the institution, but to affect the delivery of economics resources, the access to economic resources, and the financial intelligence in terms of understanding financial matters, applying for loans, preparing business plans. Those are key building blocks in the
Yeah,
development of wealth.
yeah,
And the government is not interested in having um, a broad cross section of the Guyanese population access economic resources or access resources that would allow them to prosper and develop. So this institution represented more than just simply trying to take control over an institution, over the government's simple mindedness to have absolute domination in the society. But I believe their efforts through the co-op society, persons president and portrait to act on that co-op society through the chief cooperative development officer and instructions coming all the way down from the minister. This
mhm,
represented another way, another assault on your future and your opportunities. Because one of the things that would have happened, Sherrod, based on the information I would have received, there was a marked restriction in the ability of the very persons that I refer to, the predominantly the APNU AFC supporters, to access loans during the period in which this current committee of management would have been occupying um, the offices. So this is a very important development. I believe that the judge must be commended for taking a very stern and condign position in relation to what would have happened. Um, they had a very long run from last September to now, as the judge pointed out. It was 9 months, and they
Yeah.
thought that this would be the status quo going forward. Whilst people suffer, whilst the government continue to operate in a manner that makes an institution like this so much more relevant and critical to the needs of the ordinary Guyanese
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. And I dare say this is part of what Sabbath News perhaps was alluding to over the weekend when they spoke about the current administration undermining institutions in this country. A
Sarah,
starting point.
on the undermining, and I believe that is a very accurate statement. We've spoken on numerous occasions about it, but this is
Correct.
one example which is much different to the ones that we usually cite. We usually cite the undermining of state institutions and constitutional bodies and agencies. But here we have an example of the undermining of what is supposed to be a private organization, a private economic organization, simply because of its potential and simply because of its capacity to deliver meaningful benefits. I like to draw contrast, Sherrod, and I believe this is one of the reasons in which our people get the message fast. The government has not done this in relation to the sugar unions, co-op societies, and those credit unions and those other type of organizations that are rooted and vested and have a tradition of operating in the sugar belt, because that is not in their interest. You see, on the other hand, public servants, people who work in the urban areas and even throughout the countrysides across the length and breadth of the country. Because, Sherrod, one time I visited parts of Berbice, and members of the co-op society came up to me asking me, Mr. Ford, what is happening? And that is when I developed a great appreciation of the role this institution plays in the life of ordinary people. I had mothers coming up to me saying that this is how they did send their children to school sometimes in September. They were able to access loans, and they were going back to start small businesses, to start a process of being independent. And through the machinations of the government and its collaborators within the institution, those plans were not given the opportunity to prosper.
Yep. Another big win today in the courts, Rosedale, was the parliamentary secretary's case, as it's commonly called. This is a former parliamentary secretary, Sarah Brung and Vikash Kesul. I remember we're going to leave that bit there, folks, but welcome back. We're going to leave that bit there. But welcome back, folks, and so good to be here with you again. 2 wins for Senior Counsel Rosedale Ford yesterday, and I want to say big congratulations to him again and his team. Big congratulations to Senior Counsel Ford and his team. I want to show you what else we're covering this morning as we run up to program time. We have a couple of minutes left, and we want to show you some of what the other things we are tracking this morning. Again and again and again and again, folks, big congratulations to Senior Counsel Ford and his exceptional team. They keep racking up the wins. So true, Hector. Grace Noel, Jennifer Griffith, John Thompson, Sheena Hazel, they keep racking up the wins. I want to say big congratulations to Senior Counsel Rosedale Ford and his team. Folks, you all see what happened with your boy son? LeBron James, his son. You wouldn't think. I was shocked. I was shocked when I heard that, I want to get it right, that he suffered a cardiac arrest. A young man, Bronny James, cardiac arrest. This is LeBron James, the basketball, not just a superstar, phenomenon. I think they're putting him now as the greatest of all times. This better than Shaq, better than Michael Jordan, better than all the other folks. His son, Bronny James, suffered a cardiac arrest while in practice at the Southern, in a practice session in Southern California on Monday. On Monday, a spokesman said that the medical staff treated the 18-year-old James, 18-year-old Brandy James. They treated him on site, and he was transferred to a hospital in the area. And he was in a stable condition after leaving the intensive care unit. 18 years old. I know some people say cardiac arrest, it's a big people, it's old people. Well, why y'all come out for attack me so early? If y'all say it's a big people, I feel attacked. He is 18 years old. Cardiac arrest. Yep. I want to hear some more of that. I want to hear some more of that. Just 18. I want to hear some more of that. You know? And all young people believe because they're young, they can just push the body anyhow. You party till 4, you're going to work at 4:30 in the morning. You know? And while training is good, you got to have a balance. I don't know what his particular medical complications were leading up to that, what may have took him into that direction. But I was shocked. 18 years and cardiac arrest. As Sylvester said, damn COVID vaccine. So our thoughts and prayers are with him. And again, this is the 18-year-old son of LeBron James, NBA superstar LeBron James. Our thoughts and prayers are with him. Thoughts and prayers are with him. Folks, the whole world upside down now, you know. Upside down. Y'all remember we were discussing Israel recently and the passing of this piece of legislation that enables the government not to be judicially reviewed by the courts, not to be judicially reviewed. I am quite surprised by Benjamin Netanyahu. You know, Lord Acton, I think it's ACTON, am I correct? Or Anchon, says that power corrupts. Power corrupts, he says. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know, this is very, very dangerous. Not only for Israelis, but to the point where you have other states that are looking on and say, I didn't think about this before, but as Benjamin Netanyahu went in this area, and Israel is a fairly democratic country and a leader on the international stage. So if it's good for them, it might be good for us. So the courts can't review some of the decisions of the government. That's what they're aiming at here. Could you imagine if we were to go in this direction? Andrew Griffith? Could you imagine the light one, if we go in this direction? Oh, them boys would be happy. They'll be salivating. Because like that case with the parliamentary secretaries. Oh, you couldn't inquire. And just like that, they usurping 2 extra seats in the National Assembly. Right? They add on 2 extra seats. So it's not 65-seat house. It's not a 65-seat house. It's a 69. I know some of y'all doing the maths quick there. I just say, yeah. It'll be a 67-seat house. You know, we go with the maths. So that is what is going on in Israel. And so the protests have been lively and livid against that nonsense. Lively and livid and prolific. Very prolific. Every day is a protest. The Israelis are laughing them, you know. They want to live under no dictatorship. The Israelis don't want to live under no dictatorship. And so they're letting the voices be heard. And if we're a democratic country like Israel, and they're embracing protests on this national level, on these issues, how much more are we? How much more are we? You know, y'all boy, the DeSantis is some problems though. Had to fire some staff. You know, he wants to contend against Trump for the Republican nomination in the United States. Right? Well, he's been forced because he's been running such a terrible campaign. He's been forced to cut a third of his presidential campaign staff. As the pundits and commentators are saying, he tries to mount an urgent reset. An urgent reset. You know who he reminds me of? Isn't he from Florida? He might be from the same state too. You know who DeSantis reminds me of? Jeb Bush. He reminds me of low energy Jeb Bush. One of y'all who really follow politics, you know, could make those illusions. Low energy Jeb Bush. Yeah. Jeb Bush thought he was the foregone conclusion. Right? And he come out with the low energy campaign. And Trump made a mess of him. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Folks, I can give you all a little insight here. When Trump first started running, I like the fella. When he first came out and he announced, I like underdogs. I like people who go and shake up the establishment. Every now and again, you gotta shake up this coffee, you know. Right? Every now and again, you gotta put a clean pot spoon in the curry and stir it. Shake things up a little bit. And I love that about Trump. But he got right to the other end of the spectrum now. And every day you can't shake up. You got to settle a little bit and govern. You got to settle a little bit and govern. So DeSantis got his hands full. Got his hands full there. And then some other international news, folks, we're following. Tunisia. Y'all remember Tunisia? This is where the Arab Spring started. When those countries on that Arab belt there started overthrowing their dictators. Can't remember the exact year. Was it 2012? The whole uprising there in the Middle East started from Tunisia. They just get vexed one day. It's a fed up of y'all. Fed up of dictatorship. Fed up of autocracy. National protest. Dash out them people. Well, folks, they didn't find the footing yet, apparently. And so there were huge protests because the president, like Netanyahu there in Tunisia, he's been expanding his powers. He's been expanding his powers. And the Tunisians are asking for a halt to that, and they're demanding a release of all jailed political opponents. So, folks, a lot's happening around the world. That's Tunisia. That is Tunisia. And closer to where we are, we're following the goings on in a lot of places like Trinidad, for instance. And Haiti. Oh, we gotta apologize to Haiti. We gotta apologize to Haiti. But first, folks, in Ecuador, there has been a state of emergency declared. They got a lot of trouble in the prison system there. A lot of trouble in the prison system. Right? And we saw just yesterday, President Guillermo Lasso, president of Ecuador, ordering military and police to take control of the prison system. For 60 days, that's how bad it is in Ecuador. Lasso ordered the police and military to take control of the prison system for 60 days because there's a lot of protests in the prison system there. A lot of uprising in the prison system there. So that's what's going down in Ecuador, folks. That's what's going down in Ecuador. And we're watching that. I think we're coming closer to home now. Well, y'all boy Ralph out here trying to be great. Mary, the light one? Your boy Ralph out here trying to be great. Right? Trying to be great. And he wants, I think he's talking now about reparations. Right? Ralph no able. Reparations for Caribbean territories. Like I can hear anybody else talk about this. Like I really want to hear Ralph. Like I really even want to talk with Ralph this morning. I even really want to talk with Ralph. In Trinidad, the people saying Jack Warner is a welcome force back on the political scene there in Trinidad. Is a welcome force back on the political scene. Of course, you know, we told you guys recently Jack Warner there, who used to be with the UNC, broke away from the United National Congress with Kamala, previous prime minister and so on, broke away, started his own political party. Now he's saying he's coming back. And of course, she's joined forces with former commissioner of police who formed his own political party. And they're all trying to unseat the People's National Movement there in Trinidad and Tobago. And while we're in Trinidad and Tobago, pan gone far. The steel pan, you know, Trinidad is the home. The origins of the steel pan starts in Trinidad. With those old drums, the pan gone real far now. Because they're telling us, guys, that Trinidad and Tobago made a request, a draft resolution for August 11th to be annually recognized as World Steel Pan Day. World Steel Pan Day. And you know what? The UN has acquiesced to their request. And so World Steel Pan Day is August 11th now, yearly. Maybe we could write to them for World Jagabat Day. We could write to them for World Jagabatism, World Jagabat Day. Let's turn attention quickly to some of what's happening in the 592 while we wrap up, folks. In the 592, here's what we're following, folks. You know, the NDC there, the NDC at number 58 Village. Got some problems on the hand. Some contractors blocked the quarantine highway quite recently, right? Blocked the quarantine highway, and here's why. They're telling us the extraction of sand from number 58 Village Quarantine Babis by contractors, it has been put on hold following the intervention of the NDC there and an engineer from Public Works. Right? The engineer met apparently recently with contractors and NDC officials and landowners after the number 52 to 74 NDC objected to the removal of large quantities of sand from an area that is adjacent, right, to the 1 billion farm to market access road at number 58 Village. So the folks objected. You know, that protest happened in some other places in our country. Oh, the military and police response. The military and police response you would have had, right? But they know they're able in Region 6. They know they're able. We hope all ends well. And while we're on that, while we're on NDCs and municipalities and local government, the NDC there got their hands full. While we're on that, why is it we can't swear in our mayors and deputy mayors? Is the Irfan so busy that he cannot deliver the instruments? We saw recently the Guyana Trade Union Congress. The Guyana Trade Union Congress, the GTUC, had to come out and reprimand Irfan, calling on him to swear in the newly elected mayors and the deputies so that we can get on with the business of the work in the municipalities. We can get on with it. How come everyone can't find the time? This should be a natural part of national life. You have an election, the people are sworn in, and they get on to work. But not him, not them. Irfan knew he had that to do, and Irfan gone to Canada, gone to China. I knew it was a C. Irfan gone to China. You think Irfan care? He ain't give a damn. He ain't care. He ain't care. Folks, sometimes your worst enemy is not the neighbor next door, you know. It's the enemy within. Is the Trojan horse. Is the enemy within. Look, when family hurt you, it's the worst kind of hurt. It's like when church people, religious people hurt you. One family, oh, they're counting their losses in the millions. Because a 22-year-old nurse and her 25-year-old husband, on Monday, they were released on 1.5 million bail each. And here's why. For allegedly stealing 76.9 million worth in raw gold from her uncle. And here we're talking about Anjali Singh Mangal and Rohan Mangal. $76.9 million worth of raw gold. Anjali allegedly stole along with Rohan from her uncle. Folks, I tell you this, family hot is the worst hot. Family hurt is the worst. Is the worst kind of hurt you got. So we're following this. You can't do the time. We always say, don't do the crime. Don't do it. We want us to tell you, don't do it. You can't do the time. Don't do the crime. And as we wrap up, good folks, we want to say congratulations to those folks who are participating. You know, emancipation is upon us, folks. It is upon us. The month is running to a close and emancipation is upon us. We want to say congrats to all of our young ladies who are participating in pageants across the country on this front, but more in particular, the Miss Emancipation Queen pageant. Miss Emancipation Queen pageant, and it's being staged August 5th at the National Cultural Center. We saw the folks strutting their stuff recently. I want to say congrats to them. The pageant again is set for Saturday, August 5th. If you get a chance to get tickets and head down there to the National Cultural Center. The delegates will take the stage to compete in several segments, including a STEM project. Interesting. Right? They tell us the pageant director, Gabrielle Atterley, who's a former Miss Emancipation Queen herself, said recently that all systems are in place for executing the event and for an exciting event as well. Executing an exciting event. And we want to wish all the folks there happy emancipation in advance, guys. Happy emancipation in advance. And folks, good folks, that's what we're covering this morning at our end. That's what we're covering. And we're so pleased and so privileged that all you guys joined us this morning. Oswin Tappin, we see you there, Oswin, and we see you there, Mark Doris, and the light one out front parts. We see you there as well. June Cameron, we see you too. Esther Blue, it's you? It's true? Good to see you, Esther Blue and Glenford Gordon, June Cameron. Good to see you, Gail Ali Cock. All you fantastic folks joining us. We're going to see you guys on the next broadcast, the Lord willing. Such a privilege being here with you guys. Share the live, smash that emoji, folks, and partner with us as well. Remember, if you're out this morning in Georgetown trying to transact some legal business and in regards to needing a justice of the peace and a commission of oaths to affidavits, we want to recommend the Alistair Collins firm, folks. We want to recommend them. We want to recommend them highly as well. They're down there at the Callion Mall on Lamaha Street between Camp and Waterloo Streets. The Callion Mall. You go on the ground floor there, you ask for them. Can't miss the Callion Mall. It's closer to Waterloo Street, but on Lamaha Street. And they're going to give you guys a fix-up. They're going to give you guys a fix-up there. Dolly, good to see you there. So true, Hector, good to see you. And all the other folks joining us this morning. Bella Mona, good to see you as well, folks. We trust that you guys are great. Take care. We're going to see you guys back on the next broadcast. Stay safe out there. Thanks for joining us this morning. Each and every one of you, we hope your day is off to a running start. Forbes, I see you there, Forbes. I see you there. Neon, I see you there as well. And Yvonne Ramasar. Donna McDonald, I see you there too. Stay safe, folks. That's going to do it for us at this end. Stay safe on your side. Good, folks. Stay safe on your side. That's going to do it for us. That's going to do it for us. Stay safe.